This is take 2. I just tried from my phone and I didn't have enough storage, but I wanted to be able to put this on YouTube. This is actually meant for the members of feline diabetes. Sorry, cut the hair. But I'm noticing lately there's a lot of people who are dealing with cats that are potentially in insulin resistance. And so I just wanted to share a little bit of my experience and what worked and what didn't, so that hopefully somebody else doesn't make the same mistake, because I see people switching insulins and doing this, that, and the other. And then on certain groups, I'm seeing people being given the same advice that I was given, and that advice may have potentially helped to put my cat Penny in kidney disease, in stage 4 kidney disease, at the age of, let's see, she's 9 now, so at the young age of 8. So I felt strongly that I had to share my experience. But Penny was actually in remission from feline diabetes for 14 months before she came out of remission. I firmly believe to this day that it was a medication that took her out called gabapentin. And I'll get into that another time because I'm trying to keep this as short as possible. But I firmly believe that gabapentin took her out of it. She was prescribed gabapentin for spinal arthritis. So I found better alternatives, number one being that I helped her to lose weight and helped her to get active, because exercise is very beneficial for chronic pain. And the other thing I did was started Adequan injections for her, and they have been nothing short of a lifesaver, a quality of lifesaver for my Penny. So, but the bottom line is she came out of remission in January of 2015, and she spent the next 10 plus months in insulin resistance. I could not get her consistently below renal threshold, and for Penny that's probably around 210 on a human meter, and I could barely get her under 300 on a consistent basis. But once, and I followed the start low, go slow method, because that's how I got her into remission the first time, and that's what I felt comfortable with it doing at the time. But it seemed to me that Penny either wanted to drop down to 50 or she wanted to be over 300, and there was no in between. And after farting around for the longest time, trying different things and taking some advice that was not given to me on Feline Diabetes Message Board, it was actually given to me on other forums and from other people from other feline diabetes groups that are not affiliated with the message board. And I was told, well, maybe she's getting too much insulin, take her back down to 1 unit. And I remember doing that like 3 times. And the only thing that accomplished was keeping her above renal threshold for a much longer period of time. So once I got disgusted and I got serious, and I've steeled myself to the fact that I'm going to have to follow tight regulation, which I can because I work from home, and also I'm willing to get up at 2 a.m. to test her blood sugar. And at that point, Penny was, I'm sorry, the sun's in my eyes. My mom just had a stroke, and we're at the rehab and sitting outside right now, and it's about the only second I've had to do a video. But anyway, I decided that I really have to follow tight regulation pretty much to a T. I did it a little bit more relaxed in that because Penny was a long-term diabetic, it says to do dose reductions if they drop under 40, and I didn't feel safe letting her drop that low. So once she dropped under 50, even though she was a long-term diabetic, that's when I would do a dose reduction trial and see if it would work or not. But once I got serious about following tight regulation, and once I realized that her body is going to tell me what's too much insulin, that I need to stop saying, like if she was getting over 2 units twice a day, I'm thinking that's too much insulin. I'm going to take her back down to a unit again and see if maybe she's getting too much insulin. And the only thing I did was made her numbers worse and prolong the problem by doing that. If I had just followed tight regulation from the get-go, then I probably would have gotten her regulated, and actually she went back into remission. I would have gotten her regulated much more quickly, and quite possibly she may not be in stage 4 kidney disease now as a result, because she spent 10 months with glucose spilling into her urine. That taxed her kidneys, and now she's stage 4 kidney disease. So if I hadn't farted around and went off the board for advice, and if I just followed tight regulation and stayed patient and stayed the course to begin with, my 8-year-old, she's only 8 years old, may not be in stage 4 kidney disease right now, because that is taxing to the kidneys. So I wanted to put that out there because I'm seeing a lot of people switching insulins without giving one a chance. I was only ever comfortable with Levemir. Penny does not like Lantus. She's very reactive to the sting. And I was not comfortable using Prozinc because I'm not experienced with it. And when you're dealing with a complicated case like Penny was, you really want to pick an insulin that they're comfortable with and that works for them, because it worked for Penny before. But the end result was, before I broke through that glass bottom of her insulin resistance, she was up to 4.75 units twice a day, and she is not a cat with acromegaly. That's an awful lot of insulin for a cat that doesn't have acromegaly, okay? So, but that's what it took. And then we broke through that glass bottom. But even for each of the dose reductions, I did exactly what Tight Regulation said. When she earned a reduction, I reduced 1/4 of a unit. And I did that all the way down until she achieved her second remission in May of 2016. And right now this is being recorded on like April 27th of 2017. So she's coming up on a year of being in remission her second time, or diet controlled. So I just wanted to point that out. Please follow Tight Regulation. And also, if you're doing Tight Regulation and you're dealing with a very complicated case like Penny, I can tell you that there were times when she was bottoming out and earning dose reduction after dose reduction, that if I had not been home testing, she would have died. And that's plain and simple. You cannot do Tight Regulation without home testing. I'm a firm believer in that. Penny would have died several times. She dropped into the 40s and even the 30s sometimes, several times. And if I hadn't been home testing and known how my cat responded and had Fancy Feast Gravy Lovers and Caro Syrup on hand to steer her through, I would have never gotten her into a second remission safely. So I just wanted to throw that in there. But please, if you have any questions, if you're dealing with a complicated case, please go to Feline Diabetes Message Board. Get the advice there. Get in touch with me on Facebook and just follow the protocols. They're there for a reason. They're tried and true. These protocols, both start low, go slow, and Tight Regulation, got my cat into remission twice. What looked like the impossible happened, and that's because of Tight Regulation. So thanks everybody for watching. I hope this helps somebody. Bye.